Hello, and welcome to Femme de Chem Chat. I'm your host, Kit Englard, with your weekly musings on life, the universe, but mostly on disability. This week, I'm going to be talking about hosting a guest with a disability for Shabbat and holidays. This might be an Orthodox Jewish thing, but we spend a lot of time being guests at other people's houses for Shabbat and Chagim, that is, the Jewish Sabbath and holidays. At least once or twice a month, I am at a friend's house who lives one town over from me to spend the Shabbos with her. And every week I am either at someone else's house or they're coming to me because Shabbat is not meant to be spent alone in isolation. And because this week is a holiday for us and for people celebrating Easter, this Sunday is Easter, I thought this was a good time to cover this topic. I'd like to start with, please don't offer to host somebody unless you are also willing to host their service dog and mobility aid as well. It's hurtful when I get an invitation and I'm told I cannot bring my service dog because my guide dog is how I get around. And if I can't get to you, then it's not a genuine invitation. Either that invitation is being offered out of ignorance that you don't realize that I actually cannot get to you, or because the person feels like they need to offer that invitation. In Judaism, it is a special mitzvah, a kind of mixture between a good deed and a commandment, to have people over for holidays. This is especially true for people in the community who are single, or families struggling financially, or people with disabilities. But having guests in your home is hard. This is especially true for people you're not related to. But I know for myself and other people in the Orthodox community who have disabilities, we're always very appreciative when we do get invited out for holidays. But part of the challenge of being a host is you do not always know what your guest might be able to do. For myself, I am not that great in a kitchen. I have trouble seeing and hearing, and people get frustrated when they're trying to tell me what to do. So for me, I try to help out by watching children or by helping set the table. Sometimes the whole guest hosting process can itself be a barrier to people with disabilities. Conventional wisdom says that when you are a guest, bring your host a gift. And this is spouted all over the place, Miss Manners, etiquette sites. And I've heard from hosts that they complain when guests don't bring adequate gifts. As someone who grew up below the poverty line and continues to live below the poverty line, I find this societal economic barrier to being a guest a little bit bizarre, because the majority of people in the world who are disabled do live below the poverty line and might not be able to buy something for a host. But Kit, you say, you can make something. I would like to take this moment to remind everybody that DIY projects actually do cost money. And so does making food for somebody, because making food is actually a resource that you are spending on someone else. And some resources cost more than others. Chocolate chips, for example, are expensive. Canned pumpkin is expensive. Bizarrely, well, more expensive than other things. So it might actually be possible that your guests might not be able to afford to make you something right now. So as a guest, what can you do? Well, for myself, I have a stockpile of wine that I have saved up from a simcha, or joyous life event, that actually kind of ended a little less than joyously. So I have been using that in order to hopefully give joy to other people. Most important, though, is to really just express your gratitude. A simple thank you so much for inviting me. I had a great time. I really hope we can do this again. Maybe someday I can have you over. Something like that. So when accommodating a guest with a disability, just ask in advance what works best for them. Because when guests and hosts work together, you can really create an event that works for everybody that's coming. And you can have an amazing holiday for everybody. That was today's episode of Femme de Chem Chats. Our next episode will be next Wednesday, for real this time. Everyone who is continuing the celebration of Pesach, Chag Sameach, please do not forget to count the Omer. And for everyone celebrating Easter, Happy Easter! Femme de Chem is made possible by our generous contribution by our patrons from patreon.com/KitEnglard.